Welcome to the Living in Utah live question and answer session here Thursday evening. I am 11 minutes late. This is the true Living in Utah. It's coming out of Salt Lake City, and there's an accident. On one of the nights where I had to be home for 8 o'clock, there would have to be an accident, slow and go traffic. And I was sitting there just thinking, I'm going to be late. I'm going to be late. I'm going to be late. Don't panic. Don't panic. But I literally just got in the door like 5 minutes ago, run downstairs, turn the laptop on, try running for it to warm up as fast as possible. But that's how it goes. In Utah here, if you're in northern Utah, even in the St. George area, with the growth that we have had, you cannot guarantee that you'll be somewhere in 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 20 minutes. It's traffic jams sometimes. And in this case, just an accident. And it's amazing when you've got 3 lanes of traffic, how 1 lane of traffic can just bottleneck the other lanes. So I guess I could have taken an exit down through the city streets, maybe a little bit quicker. I don't know. It's a tough decision because I've done that before and everybody's thinking the same thing I'm thinking, and it's just bumper to bumper, bumper, bumper. So that is living in Utah. And I have a hard time with that situation. I've lived here for 35 years, somewhere around there, 34. And I can remember years ago when you could go anywhere you wanted to, and it was just get in the car, do the speed limit, you would make your destination real easy. Things have changed. Things have changed. But I don't think it's just Utah. I think a lot of cities have had some growth, and it's happened in many cities across the United States. So apart from that, in Utah's doing great. Perfect weather. We are in 80-degree temperatures here in northern Utah all week. Fantastic. If you want to do any kind of outdoor activities, it's just beautiful. It's great. Great time of year. I want to talk about tonight. We set records. So we had a record snowfall through the winter months. Well, that led to record money for the state of Utah because of the ski industry. It translates. It literally does. When we have drier years, tourism is down during the winter months. And when we have fresh snow, great snowfall, tourism picks up. Well, no exception. So it was a record year. And just got to pause one moment and let me turn on a light here. So I can read something. I forgot to turn the light on. Okay, I'm back. This is what happens when you're in a rush sometimes. You forget to turn things on. So here in what we call the 22-23 ski season, we set a record 7.1 million visitors this season. That's just for the ski season. That's just the skiing industry. We will have millions more coming through for the summer months to the national parks. It was a 22% increase over the 21-22 season. So at least 12 of the 15 resorts broke records this winter. What does that lead to when it comes to like money? They estimate that the 7.1 million visitors equates to $2.54 billion in spending. $2.54 billion. It's great for the state of Utah also, because out of that money, it generated $256 million in state and local tax revenue, sales tax, restaurants, hotels, gas tax, car rental tax that goes to the state. The list goes on and on. Equivalent $256 million into the state coffers. So it's great for the state of Utah. It's one of the reasons the state of Utah does push the Ski Utah slogan. They like the visitors. It's great for the local economy, the whole state economy. When you're talking $2.54 billion, I mean, that's spent somewhere more than just hotels and rental cars. Oh, ski resort, lift passes. You have to spend money on that also. Yeah, that does equate. So, yeah, it's great for the state. And one of the reasons was the early snowfall. I recall seeing snow at the beginning of November. By Thanksgiving, every ski resort that in northern Utah that I'm aware of was already open for business. So, and that's a big weekend that it's kind of like a little bit of a local goal for ski resorts if they can get open for Thanksgiving. Many people have 4 days off, and some people decide go on a skiing vacation. So if you can get open for Thanksgiving in the ski industry, it's always a plus situation. So there we go. Yeah, breaking records in the ski industry. It's good for the state of Utah. So it's good in a lot of ways, not only with the money it brings in, the visitors, the exposure to the state, but also water. We now have plenty of water. Our reservoirs are full. We can water the grass, drinking water, taps, turn the tap on. It's not going to run out of water. It is a very good situation to be in. So, and I know a few years ago, there was this doom and gloom. The state was drying up, et cetera, et cetera. But I have said many times that I've seen it before. We'll have years with snowfall after snowfall after snowfall. Then we'll have dry years, and it will just go in this cycle. Really depends on where the weather storms come from. And for some reason, this year, we're getting a lot from the California coast. And right now, we are being hit. That's one of the reasons for the cooler temperatures. We're getting this from, say, Washington, Oregon area coming across, bring in some moisture. We had a little bit of rainfall last night, cooler temperatures. So this time of year, when you seem to get the weather fronts that come from the south up, it brings that hot air and you get hotter temperatures. So I've seen it before. And there was a little bit of good news. I did partially predict it. I have said that the Federal Reserve met yesterday and they decided not to raise interest rates. And I've said a few times that I felt that we're starting to see the numbers come down. The inflation numbers come down. Some of the key numbers that the Federal Reserve looks at is starting to come down. And they've made a decision not to raise interest rates. They did say they may have to raise interest rates going down the line. My prediction is they may not. I think that the way this seems to work, they put something like this into effect and it takes time for it to start kicking in. So I think their plan to slow down the economy is moving along, and we may not see interest rate increases. We might plateau a little bit. If so, we might only see small increases. I can't see anything with the numbers that they're showing right now, maybe why they would raise rates. So that was good news for the economy. It was good news for the stock market yesterday. Good news for anyone who is purchasing a home, purchasing a car, any kind of financing. So might give us some stabilization in the market. and we'll see what happens as it goes on. But seems like the inflation numbers and some of the key numbers are coming down, and we'll see if those numbers continue. The rain has been so nice. I'm assuming that you live in the state of Utah. It did rain last night. It actually rained kind of heavy. Some evenings when it rains, it does not wake me up. Woke me up in the middle of the night. I could hear it pounding on the roof. So it was a pretty good downpour last night from where I live. So that's great for the grass. You know, it brings that nitrogen in. The grass turns green. Don't have to use water. I've got my timers turned off, so it's great. It's great to get rain this time of year. So I wish we would get rain each month. Keep things going. Keep our water level up. Would be nice. That might be asking for a little bit too much. Typically in June, July, and August, it really seems to dry up. So we do live in a desert. So that's how it goes. Any more questions this evening that I can answer? So it's good news for the state of Utah. Economy is booming. Unemployment numbers in the state of Utah are still very, very low. I'm not too sure where it compares nationally at the current moment. I haven't kept up with that, but I know the state numbers are good. The economy in Utah is still good. We're not seeing massive job losses. I don't see businesses leaving the state. Don't really see any businesses shutting down. I mean, I know of one or two. We've had some Burger King locations. I think they closed about 14 locations in Utah, but I don't think that's just Utah. I believe some other states are also noticing that some Burger King locations are closing. So I think it might be more of a corporate thing as opposed to a local problem going on. So, but the economy in Utah is booming. Our housing market is stable. I will call it stable. We're not seeing real drastic price increases, but we're also not seeing, drastic price decreases. Just kind of in the middle. Yes. Dunkin' Donuts. They actually closed in the state of Utah. So Dunkin' Donuts was brought to the state by a company called Sizzling Platter. Before they owned the Dunkin' Donuts franchise, I know they owned the Sizzler restaurants, the Little Caesars. They owned some of the brewing companies in Salt Lake, and I don't remember which one. And they used to own, or it's a little bit confusing, the Ruby River Steakhouses. I know the one in Ogden got sold to somebody, so I'm not too sure if they still have the locations in Salt Lake City. But anyways, they own, their biggest thing is Little Caesars. They brought Dunkin' Donuts to the state of Utah. About the same time, they also brought one of the wing companies. I think it's called Wingstop. Whichever one has the green symbol. Yeah, they brought Dunkin' Donuts to the state. And last I heard, they closed every location that they opened. So I'm not aware of any locations that they still have in operation. And if they do, it's probably only maybe one or two. They opened quite a few. So I don't know. I have mixed emotions about Dunkin' Donuts, about some of those industries. Good friend of mine, or somebody that I moved from California to the state of Utah, and he opened, this is going back many years, maybe 10 years. He came here and he opened TCBY yogurt shops and did a booming business, was very successful. And then he called me and said, Mike, I'm moving back to California. I'm shutting all the locations down. So he closed the locations, and I was curious. So I asked, why? Apart from the fact that you want to sell your house, but, it's kind of sad. And he said that the people's personal choices have changed. People were into the more healthy, the yogurt, the frozen yogurt, and they just saw sales decline. And people seem to want to go back to maybe eating ice cream. And at the time, he mentioned to me, and I said, well, I'm kind of shocked about that. I thought, we were in a healthy living environment. And he said, we were. But really, what people want is they want the real stuff, the ice cream and stuff like that. So at the time, he mentioned about bagels. He goes, remember, bagels were a big craze. We had bagel shops all over Utah, and we did. I remember numerous bagel shops popping up everywhere. And he said, if you look around, it's very hard to find a bagel shop nowadays. So the fad or whatever kind of died off. So possibly what happened with Dunkin' Donuts. Maybe it was successful and the fad or its time just ran its course. But always brings me back to this TCBY yogurt shops. So it's very interesting. And it makes me think about some of these other companies. We have Jamba Juice, and I remember, I don't know, 5-7 years ago, maybe more, everybody talked about Jamba Juice, Jamba Juice, Jamba Juice, Jamba Juice, and you don't hear it talked about as much. I'm not too sure how many locations they have. Some open, some closed. Now we've got like fizz drinks, and there's some others. But I wonder, is it a short-term thing? Like we've got Crumble Cookies, and we have, there's some other companies besides Crumble. It seems like the cookie craze is going on right now. Will that continue? In 10 years' time, will we have all these cookie locations competing with each other? Will we have fizz drinks, Jamba Juice, and some of the other companies? I don't know. I personally am not too sure I would want to invest myself in something like that. And I actually know somebody right now that is opening a fast food type of restaurant, and it's a chain thing. I think they do like sandwiches and like ice cream or something like that. But he's actually building the whole strip mall, and one of the units will be his location, and that'll be in North Ogden. But they have other locations, I believe, in like Bountiful and Salt Lake. So he purchased a franchise, and he's given it a go. We'll see how it goes. I think he'll open here probably by the end of the year. I would imagine construction will be done. Any more questions this evening? Boy, it's getting late in the day. I'm not too sure what time it even is. I'm going to call it a night. I appreciate everybody who joined us. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Take care.